Welcome to the 99 Forever podcast. I'm Eric Friesen, and today I'm thrilled to have as my guest my good friend from all the way in Melbourne, Australia, Chester Taylor. Chester, thanks for doing this, man.
All good. Thanks for having me here, Eric. It's my first time to do a podcast, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's just crazy because we have different time zones. So
exactly, calling you at 4:30 a.m. my time, and I think it's 9:30 p.m.
Yep.
But we make it work, and it's a good day to talk about the Oilers because it's right after a big win.
Oh yeah, what a game was that a while ago, eh?
What a game tonight. Yeah, and of course James Neal, the star of the show, with 4 goals. So the Oilers 3-0-0 for the first time in 11 years, and there were very low expectations for the team coming into the year, but it's awesome that they're off to such a great start.
Yeah, look, when we hired Ken Holland, I had this feeling with that, he's going to do a lot of, he's going to bring some positivity to the team. He's a proven GM, so with just getting James Neal to the team, man, I was really excited. Even though the season didn't even start, I knew that James Neal will have a bounce back season. I mean, with respect to Milan Lucic, that was a good trade, contract wise, and I think the player that James Neal, I think, just fits with McDavid and Draisaitl. So look, he scored 4 goals against the Islanders. Yeah, it was
6 goals already.
Yeah, and he had only 7 goals last season, so it's really, really good. And I even like the additions of Nygaard and Haas. They added some speed, and especially Haas on the face-off. I think we really needed that as well. And who else our new guys are? Is that Riley?
Riley Sheehan. Yeah,
yeah.
We're going to talk about all the guys today in the podcast, but first off the top, I think it'd be great to just talk a little bit about you as my guest. And, you and I have known each other for about 5 years now, and we had the opportunity to go to an Oilers game together back in 2015. But I think you have one of the most interesting stories about how you became an Oilers fan. So I'd love for you to just maybe tell all the listeners how you got into hockey and how you discovered the Oilers living halfway across the world.
Yeah, so, I grew up in the Philippines, so it's not really a hockey town there or a hockey country. So it's basketball there. So I grew up as a basketball fan, but my dad's best friend's from Canada. So in 2011, he gave me a Edmonton T-shirt, an Edmonton Oilers T-shirt, and with the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins number at the back of it. So I was curious about it, and I just went online and I went to the NHL website, and then I checked on the Oilers, and I watched the history of the Oilers during the Wayne Gretzky days, Mark Messier, and man, from there I just fell in love with the team, and then I just started watching them. And I think his name's Brian, my dad's best friend. So he's originally from Montreal, and then he moved to Edmonton, and then he kind of I always said, "Did you watch any Oiler games?" And then I was I got into it. And then from there, it was just continue watching and supporting, and I love the team right now.
And you've been a basketball fan and player your whole life, and I think it's incredible that in just 8 short years, the Oilers have become basically your favorite team, I think you said.
Oh, yeah. I think they're my number one sport team. Look, I used to play basketball before, but I really never had a team that I really follow in basketball. I just follow certain players, and I just like some teams. But with the Oilers, man, look, I even went to Edmonton just to watch games. I had to book a ticket just to go to Edmonton, and then I watched the games live, and I met Brian there, and I really had a good time when I went to Edmonton. It just made it, when I watched the game live, it just made me more, how can you say, I really fell in love with the team, with the sport. It's different when you watch it live, such a fast-paced game, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
So when you came to Edmonton for the first time, is it what you thought Canada was going to be like, or did you find that it's actually very similar to Australia, other than the weather, of course?
Um, um, well, of course, the accent as well, the people.
Yeah.
Like it's different accent here, but people always ask me here in Australia, "Are you American or Canadian?" Because I don't have the accent here as well. So I speak like, I mean, like I speak different. I speak differently. I don't have the Australian accent. So because I grew up in the Philippines, it's like it's different there. So, but anyway, going back to your question, it's pretty much the same. I think people are nice. It's just the weather. I mean, like, and just the culture. Like, it's different there. But like here, we don't have like what can you say? It snows here. It gets cold here, but it just snows in the mountains. Like there in Canada, wow, like you get like what thick snows and all those stuff. We don't get that here, like unless you go up to the mountains. And I realize in Canada too, the people are nothing against Australians. They're a little bit more. How can you say? Let's just put it this way: the Australians are more a bit tougher, but they're good. They're good people. They're just tougher. Like you know what I mean? How can you say like?
Well, yeah, Canadians are known for kindness. That's
Yeah,
that's exactly it. But I'm sure everyone in Australia is great too. Uh, but yeah, it was awesome to get to hang out with you in 2015 when you came, because we'd already been
yeah.
talking for over a year by then, and we booked tickets. I I wish I could have gone to a few more games with you. I only went to the one against Washington. Um, but it would have been great if I could have got more time. I would have went to all three games with you. Still though, awesome. It was an awesome trip. What are some of your best memories from that trip?
Um, Best memories, just just being there in Edmonton, just to watch the games live. I mean, like just to watch like just a live hockey game and Edmonton Oilers play live. Seeing McDavid, I think that was Connor McDavid's rookie year, right?
Yeah, it was. He'd only played
Yeah,
about 10 games in the league, I think,
yeah,
at that time.
yeah. Well, I watched 3 games in Edmonton. I think he played in all of those games before he got injured. So yeah, just to be there, just to watch the games, and just to be with Brian. As I said, like Brian's my dad's best friend. He's like my second dad to me. Um, just to be spend time with him was great, and of course to meet you there, that was a great what you call this? We had a great time in Edmonton. We got to watch a game against the Capitals, and remember, we met Neil Yakupov. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, oh, I do remember. Yeah, he signed your
We got,
Jordan Eberle jersey.
yeah, we got an autograph from Neil Yakupov, and I think it was Anton Slepyshev, your favorite player,
Yeah,
right? No, you have
yeah.
all these posters on your. No, I'm just joking.
No, no, for sure. And I mean, I know you were disappointed you didn't get to meet Nikita Nikitin, your favorite guy, right?
Oh, don't worry. I already have the jersey here, so I had it framed
Oh,
already.
okay.
So it's all good.
There you go. I
He's the
mean,
best defenseman of all time. So
one thing that I think that you and I really connected over as well is that you're a big fan of jerseys. I love jerseys too, and also we're both big fans of the history of the team and the legends of the game. Like I obviously named this podcast after Wayne Gretzky, the 99 Forever name, obviously, and it's actually Wayne's dad's birthday today, Walter Gretzky. So happy 81st birthday to Canada's favorite hockey dad. And I know you love Wayne Gretzky too, but you have different idols as different idols from me too. And I mean, I think it's fair to say we both love all the greats. But who's your favorite player of all time from the glory days?
my favorite's Mark Messier. Um, I don't know. I like big guys. I like strong guys. And he's a great. I mean, he's a great skater. And the main thing that really got me with Messier is his leadership. I mean, like the way he carried the Edmonton Oilers when Wayne Gretzky got traded to the LA Kings. I think they won a Stanley Cup, right? He was the captain that time, and he
With,
won it without
with
Wayne Gretzky.
yeah, in 1990 he
Yeah,
captained the Oilers. Yeah.
yeah. And then they won that one, right? The Stanley Cup.
Yes, they did. And then he won
Yeah,
one more with the Rangers in 94.
yeah. That one with the New York Rangers. That was a great one for him. Like he even promised the people there in New York that he's going to deliver a Stanley Cup, and he did. And
And some people have even said the 1990 Stanley Cup is the most impressive because they didn't have Gretzky for that cup. That they proved that even though he was the greatest player of all time, that the team was good enough that they could win a championship without Wayne.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that was
So
obviously a huge moment in Messier's career, and that kind of, I think, cemented him as one of the all time greats. And you could even say that winning in New York even added to that even more. But yeah, it's just always great. I find that you and I always talk about watching '80s highlights on YouTube, or Yari Curry, Paul Coffey, any of those guys. I mean, we're all just big fans of the Oilers at the end of the day, right?
yep. I remember we used to call each other just to watch the games on YouTube, like,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you even send me the links, and yeah.
Yeah, there's one guy,
It's,
I think his account is Oilers Fanatic 1. He posts all these games from the 80s that he recorded on his VCR back then. And yeah, it's awesome that we're able to go back and watch highlights because, I was born just, I think, about 5 months after the Gretzky trades, and obviously growing up, I watched hockey, but Wayne Gretzky was towards the end of his career by that time. So I really didn't get to see him in his prime. But it's great that you can go back and watch all the old highlights now. Or I've read countless books about Wayne in my life, so yeah, it's
yeah.
awesome. But
Yeah.
now we'll. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, who was the player that you really watched? I mean, like when you're
Grow,
growing up, it was Ryan Smith, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when I first started to get into the Oilers, their great players were Ryan Smith and Doug Weight. And after they traded Doug Weight in 2001, it's sort of they went into not a rebuild, but it was kind of like a retooling where they had all these new young guys coming in, and slowly they built their way up with guys like Hemsky and Horkoff, and you know with Smitty. And by 2005, 2006, they were still a middle of the road team, but Chris Pronger had come in by that point. And, with his dominant play plus the outstanding goaltending of Dwayne Rollison, they were able to get to the
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Cup final that year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember that so well. And I talked about it on the first episode too. And it's funny because I never thought the Oilers would get back to the Stanley Cup that soon. I was just a kid at the time, 17. And to think that my team that had struggled for so many years just barely make it into the playoffs and get eliminated right away could go to the Stanley Cup final. It was awesome to see. But let's shift focus to the current team. They're off to a 3-0 start. We just kind of briefly talked about them off the top of the show. What are your early thoughts about the Oilers through 3 games this year?
Yeah. Sorry, a while ago, I think I was too excited when you asked me about the Oilers.
Yeah.
I just went through and through. But anyway, man, we are 3-0 right now. 3 games? Yeah, we won 3 games now.
Yeah.
Like, we needed that. Like, in the NHL, you really have to have a good start. I mean, it's just hard. Like, we don't have, I mean, like, we have good players, but we're not a deep team. I mean, like, to get that 3-0 start, that's a big accomplishment for the team. Like, because last season, like, we had a rough start, if I remember, and we just end up like, like the whole season we're just trying to, like, catch up and to make the playoffs. But I mean, like, it's just too the guys got gassed, and it was tough, and especially in the Pacific Division, bro. I mean, like, you need to have that good start because there's a lot of strong teams in the division. So I like the way that the guys are playing. I like what Coach Dave Tippett's doing with the team, especially with the PK. That's a big boost for us. Our PK improve, and I think just the addition of Mike Smith as well on goal. I'm happy with that, with him and Koskinen. I don't know who's going to play 50, 30, or 40. I'm not sure, but so far, both have been great, except that Smith sometimes, kind of like, he takes the risk of,
you got to take the good with the bad. There's going to be some mistakes when he plays the puck that aggressively. Yeah. But, like I said earlier, there were low expectations for this team. They did make some additions in the offseason, but they didn't really bring in any big name guys. I think that's more so coming next summer when Ken Holland really tries to bring in a high skilled winger to load up to really give this team a chance. But yeah, how do you think that the guys that they've brought in are performing so far? Like, can this bottom six, the way it's constructed, be good enough to keep the Oilers in the playoff race into March?
Well, so far it's so good, but it's still a long season. But I like that Kara, Sheehan, and Archibald. I don't know, Archibald didn't play, but I
Yeah,
think
he's still sick, but
yeah,
he
during the
he should
training
be
camp,
playing next game.
I think they're doing really good. That's what some of the like coach Dave Tippett mentioned that Lions doing really good. So that's really good. And we have well, Haas and Nygaard play bottom six a while ago, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Haas has been in the bottom six the whole time. Nygaard started in
Hmm?
the top six, but tonight he played mostly bottom six because Thomas Yurko jumped up and is back. Yeah, and I think that he's looked really good. 2 points in 2 games so far. This is a guy who was in the AHL last year, so just to have him, contributing on a really cheap contract. I think he's making under $1 million a year, if I remember. So,
Yeah,
that could be a really good value contract for the Oilers.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, like also like with their our defense, like we really didn't get any free agency. I think we got who? I think we still stuck with the same roster, except that we had
Well, they brought in
Bear
Joel
from
Pearson,
Bakersfield.
but
Yeah,
Pearson,
you're right.
he was signed the year before, so that's not really a.
Yeah, that's right.
They loaned him out to his Swedish club last year. But yeah, you got Ethan Bear in there, and that was great to see him make the team. He worked really hard and spent the summer in Edmonton training to get ready for the season. So I'm impressed with him, and I think it's also good that because he's ready, and this is his third year of pro at age 22. He's allowed a guy like Evan Bouchard to develop in the minors, and that's really good that he's able to go down to Bakersfield.
That's right. Especially with Ethan Bear, he's really been impressive in training camp, and then his fitness, his skating has improved, and everything. But one thing with Ken Holland, though, I think he's a guy. He's a guy that like doesn't want to rush the young ones.
Yeah,
to play in the NHL.
That's never been his style. He always likes to let them overdevelop in the minors. That's how he did it with Detroit, and I think that's how he's going to continue to do it with Edmonton. He realizes that the best way for these players to reach their full potential is to become really good players in the American League.
Yeah, because everyone, like most of the like the Oiler fans are like expecting Bouchard to make the team this year. So, but anyway, Bouchard's still young, and they want him to develop more, and because he's going to play heavy minutes in the future for the Oilers. So with Ethan Bear, yep, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
With Ethan Bear, like he played 3 years in the minors, if I'm not mistaken.
This is his third year, so he played two full years. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And Bouchard's playing his second year now in Bakersfield, right?
Well, this is his first full year because he played 8 games in the playoffs last year. But yeah, he spent most of the year with the London Knights in the Ontario Junior League. But I really think we have a strong group of defensive prospects, and that's going to give us an excellent blue line down the road.
Oh yeah, especially our draft, this year's draft pick, Philip Broberg. I've seen his highlights playing in the Swedish league. Man, he can skate like the
beautiful
way he skates.
Skater.
Yeah.
He's got 2 assists in 9 games so far, and the Swedish league isn't an overly high scoring league, and especially for an 18-year-old, that's pretty impressive so far, just to even be in the league. And there's been some awesome highlights of him just skating the puck up the ice. He's just an unbelievable puck carrier, and that's why I think he and Bouchard are going to be such a dominant pair someday because they're both big guys. Bouchard is a great passer and has the great slap shot, and Broberg can take the puck end to end. So you have two guys with different skill sets, but that are both so good at their position. And if they can both learn to defend at an NHL level, that's going to be an awesome top two defenseman for the Oilers down the road.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we also have Sumarukov. So, we have great prospects in our defense. So
Samorukov was even better than Bouchard in the OHL playoffs last year. Like that, that says a lot.
That's right. So
I loved watching him.
I'm excited about our young prospects down there in Bakersfield. Plus, Kyler Yamamoto, he's lighting it up there right now. Like he's scoring a lot of goals.
He's great, and there's a lot of young forward prospects. Not just him, but Ryan McLeod, Kirill Maximov, Tyler Benson, Cooper Marody, and then in junior you got Raphael Lavoie. Like there's enough guys here who are going to be future Oilers and they're going to be able to surround Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid with these guys, and that's going to be the future of the team. It's weird. I still think of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as the young guy, and by the time all these prospects are there, he's going to be the old guy on the team. Do I still got you, Chester?
You there?
Yep, I still got you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thought I lost you for a second, but we're still good. Yeah, I was just saying. Like Nuge is going to be the old guy by the time all the prospects arrive.
Yeah, I just hope that we sign Nuge when his contract's
me
done,
too.
So.
That's a guy they absolutely have to keep that they can't afford to lose.
Yeah, I mean, he does all the small things, like he doesn't he hasn't have a point yet this season, but he's still doing a lot of good stuff on the ice. So,
he had an assist tonight, but it was taken away on James Neal's first goal. It's disappointing, right. But he's making good plays out there. It's just he had 69 points last year, and I really wanted to take a step forward and even get into the 70s this year, but. As long as he can be, a consistent 60-point guy, I think that's really still good production considering all the other things he does.
Mm-hmm. One player that impressed also is Zach Kassian this year. I mean, I really feel he's a skilled big guy. Many people think that he's just a physical guy that just fights, but I really think there's something in him that. He has the skill, like he can shoot the puck. He can skate for a big guy. He can play top six. He reads the plays. Like he can play with Connor and Leon. Like he's doing really good there. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 3 goals in the first 3 games. You can't ask for much more from the guy. He's been awesome. He goes to the net, and that's where he's scoring all his goals.
Yeah, so I'm really impressed with him. I just hope he continues to play like that. And hopefully our second line with Nuge and James Neal. Hope James Neal scores more goals. Like that would be like Calgary may be like, oh, what did we do? Why did we do the trade? Why did we trade him? But it's just good to see James Neal find his game again, the way he used to play, just scoring goals and just enjoying playing hockey again.
For the year, we can kind of just go through the entire team or. However many players we decide and just sort of just figure out who the top 10 scores are going to be, what we can expect from them point-wise. Starting off with you, Chester, I think it's safe to say McDavid's going to lead the team in scoring, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think he'll get... do you want like this exact number? Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that either one of us is maybe going to...
I'm just we'll just guess, okay, but...
Yeah, but that's what I'm sort of thinking. Like, what
118 points for McDavid.
118.
Uh-huh.
And he very well could do that. I mean, he had 116 last year. I think he was on pace for 122 before he missed the 4 games.
Yep.
But I actually had him down for 128 points. I I tweeted that out before the season in August when the Hockey News put out their predictions for the year. I think they had him at 121. So that's that would
Okay.
yeah, and that would tie what Kucherov had last year when he had 128 playing on a stacked Lightning team. So that would be a huge accomplishment if McDavid was somehow able to get
Well, it's
that. And
possible, you know.
oh, it's definitely possible. I think he could. There's a potential he could get over 130, which is fairly close to 128 anyway. But no one's done that in over 2 decades. So for him to have that kind of a year would be just an incredible accomplishment. I think we all know that he's a great passer. When he came into the league, he's always been a pass first guy, but he's really developed his shot over the last couple of years and scored back-to-back 40-goal seasons. Do you think this is the year he finally gets to 50?
I think well, it's possible, but I think he'll just he won't make it to 50. Maybe around 45. More he scored how many goals he scored last season? 40?
41. He's had 41 the past
Maybe
2 years.
41, 45 to 40. It'll be good if he can reach 50, but man, Connor likes knowing Connor, he just likes to, make his teammates really, really good with him on the ice. He likes to pass the puck, especially with James Neal right there right now with Leon Draisaitl. He knows he's got, he knows he got some teammates that can really shoot the puck and put the puck at the back of the net. So, but as I said, look, they're I saw on Twitter on training camp, McDavid just keep shooting the puck. He just keeps shooting the puck. He wants to get the Oilers in a good start. He wants to score goals. So you might be right. He might score to 50, but I'll be happy if he can make it to 50, and I'll just be happy if he can have 45. At least there's an improvement from 41 last season. So, but yeah, as I said, I think it'll be. Let's just put it this way: he'll score more than 41 goals this season.
Oh, definitely, I agree too. And I think one big thing is a lot of people thought that he wasn't going to be able to maybe have as many offensive opportunities because Dave Tippett's such a defensive-minded coach. And one of the first things Dave Tippett clarified when he took the job is that he believes in defensive structure, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a defensive-minded coach. He just had to coach the team that he had in Arizona, and their best way to win was defensively. For the Oilers, you could argue that cutting down on defense might be the most important thing for them too. But really, Dave Tippett coached the power play in Los Angeles when he first got there as an assistant coach. So he has the ability to coach offense. And I don't think that Connor's going to suffer because of having Dave Tippett as his head coach. If anything, he's going to become better. And look, he's got 8 points in the first 3 games this year. But moving on to Leon Draisaitl now. So what do you expect to see from him points wise this year?
I think he'll make it to the 100-point mark again. I'm guessing maybe 105, 106 points this season.
Which would be right around where he was last year.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if he can score 50, but I'm sure he's going to score 40 plus.
It's going to be so hard to score 50 just because his shooting percentage was so high, right?
Yeah.
But I think that even if it comes down a little bit, he should have the chance to still get close to 50 again. Even if he's in the 40 to 45 goal range, that's still a huge year for him. And it looks like he's going to have a chance to get 100 again. He's off to a great start with 7 points in 3 games, averaging over 2 points a game. So
that first game they played, Eric, he was in mid-season mode,
he was the best player. He was better than Connor the first game.
Yeah. So man, he just killed it that game.
And I love his competitive drive. I mean, everyone knows Connor's the best player, right? But he's the kind of guy who has such a drive that he wants to be the best player, and he's going to push Connor, and that's going to make Leon an even better player too.
Mm-hmm. I remember, I think Leon mentioned it when Coach Todd Collin was coaching the Oilers. He told Leon that I want you to push Connor. So, So that it's good. It's good for the team. It's always good to have healthy competition. It makes McDavid even more, more
Up his game even more.
yeah, even more to be a better player. Like he'll work hard on his game, and same with Leon. I mean, it's a healthy competition. I mean, they're both two skilled players, two different types of players. So, like, man, the backhand of Leon, oh, it's just amazing. I mean, one thing with Leon too, he's improved his skating as well. It gets better and better every year, every season. Like, and of course, he's like he's like a monster right there. He's strong as well. So
And just
it's good
going
for
back
Leon.
to absolutely, and just before I forget, going back to Connor for a second, he had the major knee injury 6 months ago, and it looks like he hasn't lost a step in his skating, has he?
Oh yeah, going back to that, just to have Connor this season back, playing the start of the season, that's a big bonus for the team already.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
I that that last game, I thought he broke his leg. Man, I was so nervous that time. I really thought he broke his leg. I think it might cost the season again this season for the next season, which is this season. So just to have McDavid back there, nothing too serious. He didn't need any surgery. He just did some rehab and had to get his knee back. That's a big bonus for the team. And he showed in training camp that he was. People are saying that he was flying in training camp. Although he was rusty on the first game, but he picked it up in the second and the third. He's just everywhere on the ice. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great to see him back. And how about the third top scorer on the team? Do you think it's going to be James Neal, or is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins going to jump up and take that spot?
Uh Based on now, like Nuge hasn't scored a point yet. So, but I'm confident, he's going to get his points, and I still think Nuge will still be the number three point scorer in the team. I mean, like he's gonna, he's a center, so he's gonna get some points for sure. I mean, assist wise, and he has a underrated wrist shot. He has a
Very
great wrist
underrated,
shot.
sneaky hard wrist shot. And
That's right.
I think I had him for 75 points before the year. He could still do that. There's a real chance that he'll put up points on the power play and now that he's playing first unit again with McDavid and Draisaitl and all them, and the fact that he has maybe a few more skilled wingers now with guys like Neil and Yurko or Nygaard. But
Sure.
do you think that that's going to give him a boost?
Yeah, I mean, like Nygaard's. I mean, he can play. I mean, he's a fast player. I mean, he goes. He defends well. He gets the puck. I mean, like he just has to get used to the American game, like a smaller rink. I think that's normal for European players. But he's been great, especially also that Thomas Jurko. He had a great preseason. I mean, he's a very skilled player. So I think with those guys, with him, with Neil and Jurko or Nygaard, he's gonna get a lot of points, and especially he's in the power play as well. So definitely, yes, I'm confident he's gonna get more points again this season, and he'll have a great season.
That's awesome. And I'm actually going to look at the predictions that I had from the Hockey News. So these are the Hockey News Ultimate Fantasy Guides predictions that came out in mid-August. So they had Connor McDavid with 121 points, Leon Draisaitl with 100, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins 61, James Neal 49, Darnell Nurse 34, Alex Chason 29, Oscar Clefbaum 27, Evan Bouchard 25, Jujhar Khaira 23, and Marcus Granlund 21. When I look at these, I don't know if Jujhar is going to get to 23. Granlund hasn't impressed me so much that through 3 games this year, so I don't know if he's going to make the top 10. Bouchard, maybe if he comes up halfway through the year and lights the world on fire, then he could get 25. But I tweeted about this earlier. I think they're pretty close on some of these, and other ones not at all. But let's just maybe do our top 10. We'll keep going through. So we're at about 3 right now. Did you have a number? Sorry for Nuge that you'll think he'll get this year.
I'm going with 65 points.
Okay. And the Hockey News had him at 61, so that's pretty good. I had him at 75, and 75 might be a little high, but I'm still hoping he's going to come through for me there That would really give the Oilers a good chance to get into the playoffs. So how about James Neal maybe having a shot at number 4? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going with Neil as my number 4. I think he has what, 6 goals, so he's had a great start. So I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I think after the season last year, he's had. I mean, I think that he knew that he can do more. He had a down year last year, but he knew that I could still play in this league. He's still the real deal. Like he could get back to himself. So
He had a
he
whole
just
offseason to train, and that was a big thing for him because he hadn't had that the past 2 years when he went to the Stanley Cup final with Nashville and Vegas.
yeah, and I think he was training with Connor McDavid if I'm
Yeah,
not
they were
mistaken.
training together all summer
Yeah,
at Gary Roberts' camp in Toronto, so that's huge for him as well to get back in game shape.
yeah. So I mean, so he's really motivated. I mean, he wants to get back to his real game, and look, so far so good. So
And when it
so
comes to the number, sorry, go ahead.
yep. Are
When
you
it
gonna
goes
ask
to
me the points? Yeah,
yeah. Do you have a point total for Neil?
I'm going with 53 points for James Neal.
53. Well, he's
Above
already
50
off to
points.
6.
Yep, that's right.
So I
I just
mean,
hope he stays healthy. We gotta keep. I
I
just
had him at
hope.
I had him at 45, but yeah, if he stays healthy, he might have a chance to get over 50,
Yeah.
especially who he's playing with.
And I had a feeling too that James Neal might have a chance to take Cassian's spot in some games. Like he might play with McDavid and Draisaitl.
If they really need a goal, and you know what, Cassian's a better skater than Neil,
Mhm.
and that really helps because at least everyone on that line is can keep up. I mean, Connor's the best skater in the world. Draisaitl has really improved his foot speed over the past few years, and Zach Cassian can skate really well for a big man too, so that helps a lot up front. I had him at 45 points, and then we go to the number 5 guy. I originally had Darnell Nurse, but it's looking like Oscar Clefbaum might take that back. What do you think about point totals for him this year?
Yeah, I think Oscar. He's having a good season. I mean, still early. He's having a good. He's had a good start. Like
Yeah.
he's getting more involved this time. I think he just wants to. I think he had an okay year last season. Now I think he wants to improve.
Being hurt, that really hurt the Oilers' chances at making the playoffs too. He's one of the most important players on the team, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right. And even Coach Dave Tippett loves him a lot. Like he sees Oscar as a two-way player. Steady guy. He can be an offensive and he can be a steady guy as a defense as well. So it's good for Oscar because he's a great skater for a tall defenseman too. I mean,
he does a lot of little things well, and he's their main power play guy. When he came into the league, I didn't know how much offensive potential he has, but he's really blossomed into a solid offensive player. He had a career high 38 points the year they went to the playoffs in 2017, and I always felt he had a higher ceiling than that. So I'm taking Oscar to get at least 40 points this year.
You're going with Oscar with 30 points? 40.
40, yeah.
40? Yeah, that's a good number right there. For me, I might rank him, maybe 35 to 40 as well for Oscar Clefbaum.
And he has one of the best contracts on the team too. The fact that Chiarelli was able to sign him to a 7-year deal for just 4.16 million a year, like that's a steal for this guy. He's got 4 more years on his contract. Like he'll be locked up all the way through his 20s. So that was one of Chiarelli's few good moves on the job, and Clefbaum, has just proved to be worth that contract. And he hadn't even played 100 games in the league when he signed it, so it was kind of a risky move, but it's luckily paid off for the Oilers.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Oscar Clefbaum, I mean, like, how many years you said? 4 years?
He signed until 2023.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think Adam Larson has 2 more years, if I'm not mistaken. Because both of them have good contracts.
Yeah. Adam Larson still 2021.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, going back with Oscar, yeah, that's a great contract. So and I think he has a lot of upside on his game. I still think that he has a lot to show, to prove. He just has to stay healthy, and as I said, look, he's going to be crucial for us because Larson's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So it's he has to really take that step. I mean, that next step. You know, Same with Darnell Nurse as well. I have Darnell Nurse and Oscar Clefbaum maybe in the same range with the points, 30 to
Yeah.
40 points for both of them.
I had them in the same range too. I wonder if Darnell Nurse's points are gonna suffer a little bit just because he won't get as much power play time this year with
Yeah,
if Clefbaum's healthy. But honestly, there's still a really good chance for him to have a big year, and it's a contract year for him too. We're getting into the contract talk now. Like this is a guy who might want over $6 million a year, so they really have to see what he can do before they commit to that sort of deal.
yeah, that's right. And also with Ethan Bear, do you think he's going to be a regular player for the Oilers this season?
Yeah, I do. I think he's looked really good so far. People were
He
concerned
was solid
about
again
his
against the
skating too,
Islanders.
but yeah, he was solid last night. He's a guy who just puts in the work, and he's got skills. He can move the puck well. He's got a big shot. I'm waiting to see him put some points on the board, but he's shown that he belongs. I think he's at least as good as Matt Benning right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's impressed me a lot. He's he's he took that next step. He wanted to be a established NHL player, and he put the work in. I mean, he worked hard in the off season, and when I saw him in preseason, wow! I said Ethan really improved. Like he put on the work. You could really see on his game. Happy for him.
Absolutely. So we'll move on now to Alex Chase, on another guy who just signed a 2-year contract. I think when Ken Holland signed him for just over $2 million a year this summer, the plan was that he might be in a top 6 role, but now it looks like that he's been pushed out of that spot by a few other guys like Yurko and Neil and Nygaard. So uh, it might be hard for him to get back in there, and he's just getting over the flu now, so hopefully he'll be back against New Jersey. But that's a guy who should be able to help out in the bottom 6, maybe score 12 or 14 goals, don't you think?
Yeah, that's right. I think the reason why they took Chasen out of the top 6, just to have the guy that can score on the bottom 6, because we needed that. He can't be just the
we
top 6
we
we're
needed that,
providing.
but I think the plan was for him to be in the top 6, don't you think? Or do you think that that maybe that they just wanted him for bottom 6?
I think
Because he
they
scored
can
20,
juggle.
22 goals
Yeah,
last year, right? That was a career
yeah,
high. Maybe he'll never do that again, but he was really good on the power play, especially in the early part of last season. He kind of faded down the stretch, but he was good early on.
yeah, that's right. Maybe he could flick around with top 6 and bottom 6. That's the way I see him.
Yeah.
Just depends on the injuries that we're going to have or the situation. Maybe Coach Dave Tippett can put him in the top 6 to fill up somebody, and play in the bottom 6 as well. To have that stability in the bottom 6 that can provide the goals, the points. So
Because that's one thing the Oilers really need this year is more
that's right.
scoring in their bottom 6.
That's right. So if you look at the bottom 6, who can you see is a really good goal scorer there aside from Chason?
I wouldn't necessarily call any of them a really good goal scorer. I think Josh Archibald is probably the best goal scorer of them.
Yeah.
That's a guy who has the potential to score 12 to 15 goals. He's probably the best natural shooter in the group.
Mhm.
So that's a positive. But I think that they still need to continue to increase their offense in there, and hopefully when guys like Tyler Benson, Kyler Yamamoto, Cooper Marody come up, they'll be able to help in those spots.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, with Chason and Archibald in the bottom 6, can provide the goals. So you know, so it's good. It's good to have those kind of scorers in the bottom 6 because we can't just rely on our top 6. I mean, like there are times that our top 6 will feel fatigue, and it's good if we can have that depth on the bottom 6 can provide the goals and the points. So yeah, that's what I see with Chase on.
Okay, so now we'll keep going down the list here of guys who could. I thought Tyler Benson was going to be one of their top guys, but it doesn't look like he's going to be up here for more than half the year, and that's fine. I thought that he was going to be ready to start the year, but he didn't show that well in training camp or rookie camp. So I think Dave Tippett just wanted him to get more experience in the minors, and that's fine because he was an elite player at the AHL level last year. So it's great for him to go down there and get some more points. How about Joachim Nygaard? He's got 1 goal in 3 games so far. Is this a guy who can maybe get 30 points, something like that?
He has the potential to do it, but I think he's just going to get like around the 20 to 25.
And
mark.
See, that's reasonable too, because you never know what you're going to get with these European players who've played their whole career over there. But I'd like to think he could score at least 10 goals. That would be a decent production from a guy who they just plucked out of the Swedish hockey league. But I like the guy. He's got good speed. He forechecks hard, so he does a few other things other than just score goals.
Yeah, that's right. He just has to get used to to the American game, and he's finding his way slowly. So, but going back to with him playing in the Swedish league, I think he was a great goal scorer there.
Yeah, he was second in the league in goals last year.
Yeah,
so that's a big year.
Yeah, maybe hopefully once he gets once he settles in the NHL, he could score some goals. And and his speed is really good too. So I think Ken Holland wants us to have a quicker team this time.
So, and how about a guy like? Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and he did that. As I said, he
really wanted to improve the team speed. You got the fastest player in the world, but the Oilers were painfully slow last year. So getting a few more guys who can skate well is going to really help this team, because that's just the way the modern game is. It's not like the early 2010s when it was all crash and bang hockey. Now it's very end-to-end speed. So we'll move on now to Thomas Jurko. What do you think about him? He's got 2 points in 2 games so far. Do you have a feeling he'll hold on to a top 6 spot for most of the year?
I'm not too sure with Jurko, but look, he's a very skilled player. Maybe I just want to see some more. I want to see some more with him. He had a great preseason, and he was really scoring some goals and making great plays. He could show, and he showed that he really he's a skilled player. And I just hope that he just stays healthy, because I think he had injury issues back then. So if he can stay healthy, you might sell himself as a top 6. He has a chance to play there with the second line. And as I said, that's a bonus if you can get something. I mean, like if you can have a healthy Jurko and he can provide some, depth to our team, and that would be awesome.
Yeah. And he's never had more than 18 points in the NHL before. So not a real high scoring player in the past, but I think he's always had some good skill, and hopefully he'll get the chance to show that in Edmonton this year.
Yeah. I mean, like maybe he's a mature player right now. I think he's 26 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That mark. So he's coming to the league.
This is the heart of his career. So this is when he has to do it.
That's it.
And to round out the top 10, there's a bunch of guys like Matt Benning, Gaetan Haas, Josh Archibald. Any of those guys could be the 10th guy. I think it'll probably be Josh Archibald, just because he's a better shooter. He's a guy who, like I said, on the third line, I hope he can get 12 goals or something. I don't really know necessarily what the point totals are going to be. If I really had to rack my brain, maybe he puts up 25 if he's lucky. 12 goals, 25 points. You think he can be a guy who can just add some? He's another veteran guy, 27 years old. Just add some scoring in the bottom 6.
Yeah, I mean, like he had. I think in Arizona, that's why he was scoring some goals there. I think that's why Coach Dave Tippett, signed him to a 1-year deal. Ken Holland signed him to a 1-year deal. Maybe he had talks with Dave Tippett, because Coach Dave, yeah, coached him in Arizona, and he was known for shooting, scoring some goals, and he has a great shot. And yeah, he has a. What's your prediction? 12 goals for Josh
About
Archibald?
12 goals, maybe 25 points,
Yeah, I think
something
he
like
can
that.
reach that mark. But one player that I really think that he can reach that mark too is Jujor Kara.
Yeah.
I really believe that. Yeah, I mean, like he's a guy that I think he can shoot the puck. I mean, and he
I
can go
want
in
him to
there.
bounce back, man. I
Yeah,
really do. Like he had 11 goals 2 years ago, and then last year he took a step back with 3. But I would love to see that guy just,
yeah,
get back to being a 10-goal scorer again.
hmm yeah. So I mean, like he's a tough kid too. So he crashes the net too. I mean, it would be good for him to get 10 goals or more for Jujor Kara. Just have that bounce back season. And with going back to Josh Archibald, I think that third line. I think is he playing in the third line or fourth line? Third line, right?
He only played one game. He was on the third line. Yeah,
Yeah,
third
third
line,
line.
right
Yeah,
wing.
yeah, that's right. So you can, he can score some goals and for the bottom six. That would be great
That'd
for
be
the team.
huge.
Yeah.
And before we go to the goalies, which prospect do you think has the best chance to get called up to the Oilers this year? It doesn't matter if it's forward, defense. Like if you had to say a forward who after 30, 40 games, Ken Holland will decide, this guy's ready for the NHL, I'm bringing him up. Who would you predict?
Tough question.
Got to give you the tough questions, Matt.
That's right. Um, well, for me, the closest one to being, NHL ready is Evan Bouchard.
I agree. Yeah.
So, but one has to get hurt, you know,
They
to
You could, but at the same time, if he's just absolutely dominating in the AHL and Matt Benning
might as well
isn't
keep
playing
him
that
there.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But if he shows that he's ready, I wouldn't mind having him up. Like, for instance, if the Oilers are in a playoff race in February or March, and it looks like they're going to get a wild card spot,
Mhm.
and say one of their defensemen isn't playing that well, I would be really thinking about bringing Evan Bouchard up if he's having a great year in the minors, because that's the kind of guy who could help you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it can build his confidence as well.
Absolutely, and I think he's going to have a great year. Did you see the beautiful toe drag goal he scored in the preseason for the
Yeah,
Condors?
yeah, I
Oh,
saw that.
what a shot!
Yeah,
That
that's
guy is
great.
so skilled. The Oilers were absolutely lucky to get him at 10th overall. That's a steal. Um, I think that he's going to be a big part of the future. Okay, just to wrap up here,
And
let's go
also,
to
I think Colorado did it with
Kale
Kale
McCarr.
McCarr. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he brought him up during the playoffs last season,
yeah.
and
He
and he
might
did
turn out,
great. He
you
did
know,
great.
I think he might be the second best player from that draft class after Elias Pettersson. We'll see what happens, but he's looking really good right now. So for the goalies, just to wrap up here, Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith, both undefeated at this point. How do you think they'll be divided this year? About 50-50 or more games for Smith, more games for Koskinen? What are you looking at?
Look, I like our goalies. I think there's going to be a healthy competition between Koskinen and Smith, but I'm not sure who's going to play 50 or who's going to play 30. It might be a split 50-50. I don't know, but it's good to have two goalies. So far, Koskinen was great a while ago against the Islanders. So Mike Smith's been great as well. It's good. It's good. They're going to push each other, and I just hope that Mike Smith stays healthy. That's one factor as well, because he gets hurt at times right now. Um, you know, if he can stay healthy, that'll be really, really good for us. And I don't know who's the backup for me. To be honest, I just think that it's a split from the two, and I think there's just going to be healthy competition, and Koskinen and Smith just push each other until to make them play more better.
For sure.
Number one
I
goalie.
I really think that Smith is going to get maybe leaning towards the bulk of the starts this year. It could be something like 50 games for Smith, 32 for Koskinen. That's what I would guess at this point. I think Dave Tippett's really comfortable with Smith from their time in Dallas together and then in Arizona.
Arizona as well.
And
that's right.
I just think he's the better goaltender right now, and that the Oilers have more faith with him in the net. They both have their faults. Mike Smith has the ability to turn over the puck, although, his skill to go back and pass it up to the forwards is a huge asset as well. Koskinen,
glove side.
Yeah, not a great glove, but he's improving. You hope he's improving anyway. So there's, two guys who have their faults and their positives. I mean, Mike Smith is so big; he takes up a huge part of the net. He's good positionally. So I'm hoping that the combination of those two can get the Oilers into the playoffs, but they should be at least able to keep them competitive. And Mike Smith, I think he's going back in the net next game against New Jersey, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I like how they've both looked so far.
Yeah, me too. So, as I said, I think there's going to be healthy competition. But as you said, you see Mike Smith playing 50 and 32 for Mikko Koskinen. But for me, I think it's a split. I really feel it. Because I think that Koskinen is going to push Smith as well. So, but as you said, there's an advantage for Smith because Dave Tippett has been with him with him for a couple for two teams, right?
Yeah, they were together in Dallas
and Arizona for quite some time now. So he knows Mike Smith. So yeah, there's a bit of edge there for Mike Smith. So my only concern is that hope that Mike Smith stays healthy.
Absolutely.
Injury issues the past year, so
And the Oilers are tied for first place in the Pacific Division, and hopefully we'll be able to. Vegas is third. Yeah. They're tied with Anaheim. They're both 3-0-0.
Oh, nice.
So
so good to see.
The hope is that they're still in a wild card spot. Like I'm not expecting them to be a top 3 team, but I mean, wouldn't you be thrilled if they even are the second wild card spot and just barely get in, even if they have to play the best team in the West?
Well, my prediction is the start of season that we're going to be the wild card spot. That was my prediction.
The second or first wild card spot?
Second wild card spot.
Okay. We'll check back in April if we're right.
Yeah, but so far so good. Look, I hope we could finish top 3. I mean, even the NHL Network, they even ranked the Oilers out of the playoffs. I think there's only one guy there that ranked the Oilers in the wild card spot, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot his name, but yeah, most of them.
And the Oilers, they really need they really need to get going offensively, and hope that their big guns are going to carry this team in. But
that's right.
If they can get decent defense and even decent goaltending, the top guys should be able to carry them. Well, Chester, I won't. I think we'll end up there. But I really appreciate you coming on, and I think we should definitely do this again. You're one of my best friends, and I appreciate that you were able to come on the podcast and talk Oilers with me. And let's aim to do this maybe down the road.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk almost every other day, so it feels like we do a podcast three times a week, just not recording it.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the podcast. So
yeah, that's awesome.
We can have some more talk in the future.
For sure. And I just think it's awesome how there's Oiler fans all over the world. I know Oiler fans in England that I see on Twitter, and Germany, and even there's a couple in Australia now. So that's great. Let's hope that
hockey's getting big here now. So I mean, it's not. I mean, like Canada or America, but starting to grow.
Especially if it grows into Asia, I think that's going to be a big part for it. So there's there's a lot more of the world to untap in terms of hockey potential. So we'll leave it there. So for Chester Taylor, I'm Eric Friesen. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. This has been the 99 Forever podcast. We're out.